Living green or sustainably is about more than saving on your electric bill and doing your part to protect natural resources. It is about a safer and healthier life for you and your family without sacrificing style, quality, or budget. This is a movement to provide all of us with clean air to breathe and water to drink, safe, healthy food to eat and places to live, and energy to run the places where we live, learn, play, and work. The Everyday Green Home Podcast helps you get the value of green for you, your family, and your community. Whether it's green homes, green living, or the people who make it happen, join me, Marla Cloche, to learn how green and sustainability practices and products work for you and our world. Welcome to the Green Gap Podcast. It's another day with our regular guest co-host, Tony Pratte from the Sound Room. How are things going today, Tony?
They're doing well, Marla. I see I've been relegated back to my normal role after getting to drive one time.
You enjoyed that, huh?
Oh, it was fun, but let's face it, this is more the normal dynamic.
Well, I do think, so for our listeners that haven't heard that podcast yet, the last one we recorded, it should have run before this one if accounting of podcast positioning is correct. But Tony actually did the interview, and that was a lot of fun because, Tony, you're actually a much better interviewer than you give yourself credit for.
I know, but once again, it's all about the roles of the show. While I'm comfortable doing it, I fit in nicely to my normal role.
Whatever.
I always like to be the support, not the star.
Well, then I'm just going to turn the tables on you again today.
You're asking me questions. I'm just responding. That's my normal role. I'm the analyst of the show.
Yeah, except this is your area of expertise because today we're going to be talking about no-touch smart homes. And with your extensive background in smart homes and automation, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could sleep through this one if I really needed to.
Just for a bit of reference and context, as we record this, we are deep in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are safe distancing from 473 miles away. Thank you to the technology available, which for many of us that are freelancers or small businesses, we've been working this way for quite a while. I mean, granted, we're augmenting or had been augmenting with in-face meetings and travel to conferences and stuff. But now the whole world's doing this. And just like some people have had the benefits of automation and no-touch capabilities in their homes, now it's something that would benefit everyone. So that this pandemic has helped a lot of things that were perhaps just in small segments all of a sudden become very, very popular.
Well, I'd say yes and no based on a couple of things. A lot of people don't even realize, what's going on as far as, hey, all the things I touch in a house, I've got to work from home. Can my house actually support, that work?
Yeah.
What this whole pandemic is doing is forcing people to understand what myself and what my company does. And that is bring technology to the masses in reality. So the first thing that everybody has to realize is now that I have to work from home, chances are everybody else in my neighborhood is doing the same thing. And most internet providers, those are batched pipelines. So, they bring the service in and split it among all the different households. They're not really designed for everybody to be in the home sucking up internet all at the same time.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame we can't take like all the bandwidth that's allocated for businesses and schools and bigger organizations and like repipe it to our homes.
Right. You just can't.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, the quality of internet in everybody's house is tantamount. It's, right there top on the list because that quality internet signal is what allows you, what allows me, what allows everybody to work from home because you were very comfortable teleconferencing. Now everybody has to get comfortable.
And we're all online.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that we've been able to do as much as we have.
Regardless of whether it's you're video conferencing with somebody or you're just logging in through like your network's VPN system, no matter what, you are relying on that internet connection.
Yeah.
And for many people, it's nice, easy. They plug into a hardline connection right into their router, into a hardline connection in the wall. They're off and running. But a lot of people, especially the younger people, everything that they do is wireless. I saw some interesting stats a couple years ago. 65% of people under a certain age will never plug into a hardline connection.
I can't get to one in my own home. I have to go sit by the TV in order to get one.
And think of all the new equipment.
Yeah.
I've got a laptop that is not even as thick as a standard, RG45, Cat 6 connection.
Yeah.
That's thicker than my laptop. I can't go that way. I've got to find, connectors. I've got to find, USB to, RG45 ports, things like that.
It's complicated.
It is. So we are more and more going on the route of wireless internet inside the house. And no matter what you do in the smart home world, everything starts with making sure you have good wireless internet coverage in the house.
And how do you do that?
Well, for most people, let's stick with the do-it-yourself mentality right now, because I think for the short term, most people are not going to want professionals coming in their house, working on their house to get the internet up and running.
Yeah, I agree.
So for the do-it-yourselfer who has access to an Amazon, has access to a Home Depot, you can find products online. The main thing is you need the router, you need your own wireless router. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a smaller house, chances are a good router will provide enough coverage.
Can you help me identify a handful of good ones that we can put in the show notes, and we can also post up on Everyday Green Home on the store?
Yeah, that'd be pretty easy.
Okay, so we'll do that. So if y'all need some help out there, then we're going to rely on Tony's expertise to give us some guidance here and get you to some solutions.
Yeah, so you can go that route. If you have a little bit bigger home, then you're going to need what's known as a wireless repeater, or also a wireless access point of some type.
Is that like an extender?
It's an extender, yes.
So it basically makes the Wi-Fi signal go further in the home?
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, there's a couple different ways to do those. The ones that we do require wiring, so they're not something that the do-it-yourself person is going to be able to do easily. But there are some companies out there that make their own little kits that have multiple access points to them, whether it's a company like Ubiquiti, Google, you can find them fairly easily. In those situations, it'll have a hub and a couple extenders that you just plug in, and they all kind of acquire themselves and everything. And it helps to build upon each other to make a nicer, stronger system. These are more known as mesh network systems.
Okay, you're getting complicated on me.
I'm trying to keep this as...
I gotcha. But essentially what we're trying to do here is get more oomph into the system, to get more Wi-Fi in more parts of the home so that it's more accessible from various parts of the home, correct? Do I have that right?
More accessible, and also needs to be a stronger signal, because chances are you have at any given time 3, 4, maybe 5 people that are constantly hogging that internet with everybody at home, and they could all have multiple devices.
Well, and I'm hearing stories too about when like the kids need to be on Zoom for class, class meetings, and then parents need to be on Zoom meetings or similar. I'm just saying Zoom because it's so popular right now,
Sure.
But they need to be online, video streaming basically for their meetings. So, a lot of homes probably supporting more than 1 or 2 of those is probably a challenge, I'm guessing. And then if you add in that, kids are playing online video games, that's going to take up a lot of bandwidth. Or if you're streaming movies, that's going to take up a lot of bandwidth. So,
well, let's think about it. At any given time, so just my house right here, having this conversation with you, I have 4 wireless devices, 2 laptops, a phone, and an iPad ready to go.
How many of you are there?
Just me. This is just for me in my house.
Royal you.
Plus, what else is soaking up my wireless? Well, I've got my TV that I stream everything. I do not have cable.
Yeah.
I've got a lighting control system in here. It's not a big one, but it still operates off the Wi-Fi. And I've got my Sonos music system. It does a little different. It's still pulling off my Wi-Fi.
Okay. So this Wi-Fi extender, this was a good start.
Yes.
Let's take a really quick breather. And then when we come back, we'll go to what needs to happen once you get your Wi-Fi better than what the next things are you can do in your home.
Perfect.
Okay. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Marla Cloche, the Green Home Coach, and I am the author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices for a Better Home. And in this book, besides talking about a bunch of stuff about green and sustainability products and practices you can easily take in your home, I also talk about home maintenance and how important this is to having a home that serves you rather than you serving it. Seasonal home maintenance checklists are a big part of this, and I teamed up with colleague Tina Gleisner from Home Tips for Women to use her maintenance checklist. They're actually included in the book starting on page 96. And if you have the book, look them up. But I wanted to give you a brief excerpt from the book to get you excited about why home maintenance checklists, I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but why they are so important. So, maintaining a home is actually a 3-part ongoing process: inspect, maintain, and update. To help you keep track of what you've done and plan to do, make notes on the checklist. First, inspect. If you've only got an hour to spare, pick one exterior side of the house or one room inside to inspect. Note the date you did this on the checklist and flag items needing maintenance or repairs so you can schedule time or make a list for your handyman or handywoman. Second, maintain. Keep your home safe, such as smoke detector batteries. Keep your home energy efficient, like furnace air filters, and prolong the useful life of many home features, like caulking bathroom tile. Write it down when you complete a task, keeps you from guessing later on. And third, update. Take advantage of improved materials and fixtures. Upgrade to new building codes and evaluate when it makes more sense to make an improvement rather than repair, such as replacing a bathroom floor rather than repairing the grout. Check out the book or give me a holler and I'll hook you up online to get the maintenance checklist for yourself. If you'd like to have the entire book, please go to livinggreenbook.com for a multitude of ways to purchase it for yourself. Thanks again. This is Marla, the Green Home Coach. Back on the Everyday Green Home podcast, talking about how to make your home smarter and not have to touch stuff so much. So, Tony, you're saying we start with Wi-Fi and there's some ways that we can improve, extend that.
Right. So basically you start with the Wi-Fi. Small house, all you need is the router. Bigger house, you need either a mesh system, which is a router and access points, or extenders, or you need to find some extenders to go with your router. Either way, you need to make sure you have nice, even coverage all throughout the house.
How do you tell that?
There's a couple ways. A professional like our company, we use a heat map. So we can take your floor plan. We basically build the house just like it would be built, account for drywall, account for steel, account for studs and plywood and you name it. And we can generate a heat map for the homeowner.
Okay, well, that sounds great. But right now, we're probably not going to be able to get you all to come in.
Exactly. So basically for the homeowner, the easiest thing to do is once you have your Wi-Fi up and running is you take your handy dandy wireless smart device.
You mean like our smartphone?
Your smartphone, your iPad.
Okay.
Log on to your wireless Wi-Fi network. Mm-hmm. And you just walk around the house. Make sure you can.
And just watch how strong it is on the number of bars or the waves.
That's all you have to do.
Okay.
That way you can verify you've got strong coverage in every room.
Okay. Yeah, that's part of the reason that our Wi-Fi and our modem and all that, where they are by the TV, because it's also the center of the house. Well,
if your TV's in the center and that's where everything is, that's the easy way to do it.
Worked in our house, yeah.
For a lot of people, it's wherever the modem is.
Right, and that's where ours needed to be, so I got you. Okay, so we got better Wi-Fi now, or at least we know how to get better Wi-Fi if we need it. Then what?
Okay, so from there, then it becomes, how do I make my house into more of a smart home? Ways I don't have to touch things so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to start with the things that we touch the most?
Well, there are 3 basic things that are easy to put into a home that when you go into the smart home or a connected home, what you're trying to do is you're trying to simplify your life and make things easier so you don't have to touch them so much.
Okay.
So the 3 things that are probably the most bang for the bucks, if you will, are thermostat, lighting, and sound. Those are the 3 easiest things to add to a smart home. Thermostat, everybody can benefit from having like an Ecobee or a Nest or some of the other, whether it's Honeywell.
There's quite a few of them out there that are.
Yeah, there's a lot of different Wi-Fi thermostats, but we use the Ecobee the most just because it does some things that we like from a professional reporting side of it and data it collects that we can use for a house, whether it's mold, whether it's, humidity, things like that. But if you're pretty handy and you know how to swap a thermostat, that's probably the easiest thing to do. A lot of them will learn your own patterns. You can program.
Yeah, that was how my Nest was that I had back at my other place in St. Louis.
Yeah, so if it kind of knows what you're doing, well, you don't have to really touch it.
Yes, that was great because it was a learning thermostat, truly.
Right. With lights, same thing. There's, whether it's a Lutron system that you could get at Home Depot, there's several others. A lot of Home Depot might have their own, Lowe's might have their own, but it's simple. It's more lighting modules. So if you have lamps, you plug a module into the wall, you plug that lamp into the module. Now all of a sudden you can automate it. You can hit an app, just on off. That way you're not touching the lamp, but you're touching your own personal device.
Right.
Then you can tie them into voice control. So whether it's the Amazon product or the Google product, a lot of them, you plug those pieces in and just tell it to acquire whatever skill. They'll go out and they'll find those devices that you just used and then bring them in-house to where you can.
So just plug and play, really?
It really is kind of plug and play.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
We have a system here, but it's proprietary to our cable and internet provider.
That's a different deal.
Right. And this one's all tied through our remote.
Right.
So we have just a microphone button on our remote for all the voice activation commands.
And a lot of the more professional systems, it's the same way. It takes a little bit more programming.
Okay.
But my stuff, when I plugged in my Alexa, my Lutron lights, and then my Sonos, it did not take me that long. It took me about 15 minutes to get it all up and running.
I wish I could tie our Sonos into our home automation, but they don't yet have an agreement. So.
Right. And that's really just depends on, Sonos works more with the integrators.
Yeah.
And then the DIY products, they do not work with the systems provided by like AT&T, Cox, the cable providers.
So you mentioned earlier, I'm going to kind of circle back on, because I think you just said it again. You used the word smart home versus controlled home.
Mm-hmm.
So explain the difference.
Okay. Smart home versus control or automation. Okay. That's how we kind of look at it. Smart home means it has somewhere in that house, there's a feature, thermostat, lights, sound, TV, something that has an app that you can put on your smart device, phone or iPad, and you can control it remotely. You can control it from the comfort of your couch. You can do something. It's smart.
But it's a one-to-one relationship. It's the item to the app.
Yes, I have to app hop. So I might go through 5 different apps, turning on 5 different things.
Okay.
Now, control means there is some kind of a controller inside that house that all of those different devices talk to. And that controller allows everything to be brought in to the same app, and it allows you to do what they call scenes. So whether it is a good morning, good night, I'm leaving, I'm home. These are popular scenes that we program from the professional side, that when I say, good morning, it might turn on the music. It might turn on some lights. It might disarm my security system. It might turn on the steam shower.
Adjust the thermostat, that kind of stuff.
Adjust the thermostat, exactly. All of these. So it's your entire morning routine. Instead of you getting up and going to different rooms and turning things on and spending 20 minutes, you say 1 word, 2 words, everything is done for you.
So like a lot of things in our home have automated schedules on them. Like our coffee pot, I have a timer on it so I can set when it starts. I set the thermostat through our home automation system to come on, 30 minutes before we get up. So can you set multiple scenes? So you could have, and then, so if you complement what things in your home you can set on automatic with this, centered approach, then that really drastically reduces the number of things you have to go physically touch.
Yes.
Every time you want to change things.
Here's the fun thing. So like your coffee pot, most of these systems have modules that you plug that in the wall, you plug your coffee pot in there. You never have to even think about your coffee pot ever again.
So that's where you would use those little plugs that are part of the automation system.
Yep.
Okay. I kind of was trying to think about how I could use one of those, but that's a great way to think about it.
That's what happened.
Okay.
So it used to be automated house or controlled house. It was just the ecosystem itself. We talked about it. But now with the way voice control is, really 2 systems in one. You might have that control part, but then you'll have have these little ancillary things that will never go inside the control system, but they might be part of the entire solar system so much.
So maybe there's a side gig for you. You can help people design their DIY.
Yeah, really.
Smart homes. Okay, you hang on a second, and we're going to just take a really quick breather. And when we wrap up, we're going to tell you more about how to do this, where to find it, and what else am I missing, Tony? Hang on. We'll be right back. 5 myths of green homes are 5 things that you probably believe about green homes that may be costing you thousands of dollars. Which myth do you hear the most? Get your copy of 5 Myths at greenhomecoach.com and click on the button for 5 Myths of Green Homes. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Green Home Coach and let me know the green home myth you hear the most. I'll also share tips, products, and resources. Be sure to download your copy of 5 Myths of Green Homes now and then check back to learn more. So back here on the Everyday Green Home podcast, we are talking about smart homes. And in the middle of this pandemic, not touching as much stuff means less stuff to wipe down and disinfect every day. So that's a good thing. But this is something that really can just improve our lives in general, right, Tony?
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole idea of any kind of smart home or automation, is to make your life easier.
Would it also be, I would think, really helpful for people that maybe have some physical limitations or people that are getting older? So I can see a lot of different applications for this.
Oh, well, just look at the one house we did for the Gary Sinise Foundation.
Oh, that was a cool one.
Yeah, police officer that was quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down, but he could speak. We made his entire house voice controlled.
Yeah.
So we gave him a sense of independence, allowed him to do, 10 things by himself. Where in his wheelchair, he could control it to where he could roll up to the door. The door had a gigantic arm on it, a mechanical arm. So he could say, open the door would open. He could wheel himself out to the deck, say, turn on music. He could sit out there, listen to music all by himself.
Nice.
So voice control and app control really make it easier for people that have limitations, that maybe have disabilities, to have a little bit more sense of independence and freedom.
Well, I know even when Scott was in the hospital, our security system has cameras and we positioned them inside of the home so that he could keep an eye on me from the hospital the nights I wasn't, at the hospital with him. And then when he got home, if I needed to leave for a while, I could keep an eye on him to make sure everything was okay.
Right.
So there was an immense sense. It's kind of like the nanny cams back in the days, but it was huge to have that visual that it was okay.
I want to say older Gen X that might have older baby boomer parents.
Yeah.
They'll have cameras in their houses just to make sure that, hey, they're getting up, they're doing their normal routine, everything's good. And that's just a daily thing. So you're seeing where technology and smart home technology, connected home technology is just providing an extra layer of safety and kind of a peace of mind.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So that peace of mind right now in the midst of this pandemic has really made us realize how many things we touch in a day.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And then of course I'm hearing the horror stories of, I say horror stories, it could be worse, but moms with kids home that are everybody's using 9 cups a day and 19 remotes and that's a lot. It's
a lot to clean.
Right. So, every little bit we can help people do that they don't have to handle so many things is hopefully a bonus.
Well, and, you have to just look at how you want to handle the house. Like I say, once you get your Wi-Fi, you have to have strong Wi-Fi in the house to make any of this work.
I got that.
Then you can sit there and say, you know what? I don't want to touch anything. So I'm going to do voice control. Whether it's Amazon or Google. Most of these systems handle both. Then it becomes well, you know what? I just need some lamps. Great. I can pop in my lamp modules. I have lights in my house that I never touch.
We do too.
It's constantly, Alexa, do this. Alexa, do that. It's nonstop. Some people that are a little hesitant for the voice control because they don't want to take the chance of somebody listening. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where you go the app route. Yes, you are still touching something, but it's your personal property. It's your phone. Other people aren't touching it. So you can at least limit that I'm not hitting a switch where maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people are hitting all the time. It's still going to make life a little easier.
Gotcha. So if somebody just really wants to get started with something pretty simple that they could activate Weekend Warrior Project, what would you recommend?
Okay, so what I would do is, depending on what they're trying to do, I could go to either Amazon or I could go to Home Depot and I could find simple lighting solutions. I could find thermostats, not so much like a Sonos speaker or something like that at a Home Depot, but I could easily find that at maybe a Best Buy, an Amazon. Even now we just launched our own e-commerce site. So you can go on to soundroom.com and there we are.
Oh, I need to become an affiliate.
We just launched it a couple days ago.
But for our listeners, so Everyday Green Home is an affiliate with Amazon and Home Depot. So we'll go out together, Tony, and we'll identify a few key solutions that we can put in Everyday Green Home, the shop. And that way folks can find a couple of the recommendations that you've been talking about.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that'll, at least if y'all out there in listener land want to get started with your own project, and this is something, I know a lot of people are working through their list of home projects right now. So this may have been on your scope anyway.
Well, and let's be honest, when it comes to like the lighting systems, these lighting systems, they're fairly simple. It's one little plug that plugs into your router or a switch or your modem. That way it has internet. And from there, if you know how to swap out a switch, it's pretty simple. You're going to cut the switch or you're going to use the
the plugins.
Yeah, you're going to use the lamp modules.
Yeah.
Either way.
We actually have that. We're on a proprietary system, but we actually have light bulbs that have it built in.
Yes, you can do that too. You can do the Philips Hue. That's a really simple way of doing it, actually. I don't have a lot of experience with, only because, as an integrator, we do a little bit more proprietary systems when it comes to light.
Right. Well, we'll look, like I said, we'll look and see if we can leave y'all with a couple of good starter tips and things to get started with product-wise. So
yeah, but those are the three things I would really concentrate on.
Okay. So thermostats,
lights,
lighting, and sound. So you didn't talk about sound a lot. What all would that encompass?
Actually, it's pretty simple. Usually we like to use the Sonos, especially for a do-it-yourself kind of feel. The little Sonos.
Highly recommend Sonos. I love mine.
The little Sonos Play ones, they're perfect for a room. They sound great. You only need one of them. And they do have voice control built into the newer ones.
Yeah, because ours is older.
Yeah, I have the older ones too, but the new ones, it comes built in, so you don't need two pieces. If you are going to do more than one, then I recommend you get the Sonos Boost, because what that does, it allows your Sonos players to build their own network inside of your Wi-Fi network. That way they don't sit on top of your Wi-Fi network and suck down your data.
Okay. So how many Sonos components at what point do you recommend people installing that? How many Sonos components would you typically see?
If you go more than one.
Okay.
So I have two in my house and I have it.
Okay.
It's a little piece that plugs into, once again, your router, modem, switch, whatever, into the internet, and it just goes from there.
Okay.
There's really no programming to do with it. It's plug and play. On the Sonos app, it just walks you step by step on how to install things.
So these three systems, the thermostats, the lighting, and the sound, so they're really all tied together through the voice command module.
They would be.
Amazon or the Google solution.
Yes and no. The voice control allows you to control each one of them, but it won't allow you to necessarily create a scene. Now, if you go to Home Depot...
That sounded funny.
If you go to Home Depot does sell a product from Lutron called Caseta, and Sonos actually integrates with that little, they call it a bridge. Sonos will integrate with it. Nest and Ecobee, I believe, will also integrate with it. So that would allow you to create a scene. But you need some little hub that will communicate with all three pieces that will allow to create the scene. The Alexa itself might not necessarily do it.
So if you did that little integrator, would you still be able to use voice commands through your...
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly how my house is set up.
Okay.
I have a Caseta hub, I have Sonos, and I have the Alexa piece.
Okay. Well, we're just about to the end of our time. Any parting tips you want to leave with people?
I would say this, depending on how complicated the systems get, there will be a point where the homeowners themselves will need professional help. And what I would tell you is, while during these times, it's going to be very easy for you to at least get yourself up and running. If you are getting ready to build a house, if you're getting ready to do a large remodeling project, I would recommend talking to your builder or contractor. Chances are they have a trade partner that does this, and say, yes, I'm really interested in making my house into a smart home. or a connected home or an automated home, they'll know exactly what you're talking about, and they'll make sure that it is planned during the whole design process of the house. That way it becomes just part of the house.
That makes total sense.
That's how we like it.
Okay, cool. Well, Tony, as always, you are full of knowledge and experience and expertise, and we always appreciate you sharing it with our listeners here on the Everyday Green Home podcast. I will get used to saying that eventually. You look for the links in the show notes, and we will link to some of the starter products that Tony and I have chatted about and give you a place to start. And as always, please reach out to us if you need anything. We can always find a way to get in touch back with you through the podcast, through the website, you name it, we'll find you back. Thank you much. Tony, it's always a pleasure.
Well, bye.
Y'all have a great green day. That wraps this episode of the Everyday Green Home podcast. Ready to use what you learned? Get the show notes with all the resources mentioned in this episode. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening and for leaving a review. And remember that living a little better and greener is easier than you think.